We're going to use all the best practices and all of our historical knowledge. We are going to test, we're going to gather data, and we're going to retest. And we're going to continue to do that throughout our relationship so that you always know that we are testing and iterating to move your business forward.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews.
Hello, and welcome back to today's episode of the My Future Business Show. This is the show that gets you in front of your best audience and keeps you there. Now, I hope you're doing really well, and thank you very much for joining us. Now, if this is your first time joining us on today's show, you're in for a treat because I'm on the line with the wonderful Tyler Dolph. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much.
Absolutely a pleasure to have you here. Now, you're the president and CEO at a company called Rocket Clicks, and we're going to be talking about all things digital marketing, including how to grow your business using marketing strategies that are tailored to the specific needs of your business. Now, there is something very revealing in that because we do have very specific needs as marketers, and sometimes the rabbit hole goes very deep, and I'd love to talk about that in a moment with you, Tyler. But before we do, you just mentioned prior to the call that you've flown from one part of the States to another. Tell us a little bit about where you're calling in from today.
So we are based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I was in Tampa Bay, Florida today, kicking off a new client agreement, and flew back in time to sit down with you this evening.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that commitment again. Now, what do you love about your location? Have you lived there forever?
No, I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, and my wife is from Milwaukee. So when we wanted to have kids and get married, we wanted to do that closer to her family, and so we moved to Milwaukee about 7 years ago.
Fantastic. Now, I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, and you just mentioned family, that obviously as a dad, you'd be fairly busy in that part of your life. Tell us a little bit about what you like to do in your downtime. Do you get much of that?
It's certainly. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, two little boys.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Yep.
we're right in the thick of it as far as being young
You
parents
certainly are.
and with young kids. But we love every moment. They're amazing little guys, and it's really changed my perspective on what's important and what matters. And being a dad to those guys is certainly one of my most precious sort of positions and roles.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing. I have 2 young boys myself, and I know how busy you are.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
now tell me a little bit about, aside from family time, do you do anything that you enjoy yourself? Do you find some time, some private time for Tyler?
I'm a pretty social guy, so I really like being around people. I like hanging out with friends and being around people more successful than myself, being around people who are doing amazing things in the community or in business, and just trying to learn as much as I can and pick up any tips and tricks that they have.
Yep.
I also really love just sitting down and being able to get into a good book, and just continue to try to level up.
Yeah. Are you an audiobook fan?
Love audiobooks, yeah. Anytime in
Yes.
the car. I think there's still something special about holding a book
Of
and
course.
being able to be a part of it. But
Yep.
if I'm traveling, audiobooks the way to go for sure.
Oh, absolutely love it. Now, in terms of ongoing education, I always talk about because there are lots of startups, people who haven't already walked the path like you have, and they don't know the bumps in the road that they're impending, if you like. Tell us a little
Yep.
bit about, you've talked about being around people who upskill you and, take you to the next level. How important is it to have people around you that are like that?
Well, I think
Mentors,
there's
if
that
you like.
saying that you're the combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And so
Hmm.
um, I heard that very early on,
Yep.
and I've always been encouraged to go create those relationships and be a part of those, groups or peer groups. And it's been tremendous for my growth as a young leader, running a young and growing business to get as many tips and tricks as I can, because obviously I haven't been there and done that over the last however many years. We're still very much in our infancy and growing
Hmm.
quickly.
Absolutely. And I forgot to ask you, what type of books are you into? Are you into purely business or do you like a balance?
No, I'm definitely purely business, but more in the broad spectrum of, I could read a book on how to grow a business. I could read a marketing book. I could read a self-help book on, creating better habits. So it's all in that same general category. But as long as I feel like I'm learning something, that's where I get the most satisfied.
You're on the right path. Now, I remember when I was a kid growing up, one of my first entrepreneurial experiences was washing cars. Can you recall yours?
Mowing lawns.
Mowing lawns.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was 15, I'd have to bike to the boss's house, and he would drive me around, and I had to do the weed whacking before I could drive. And then I finally got to ride the mower, which was a big promotion.
Yeah, you know what? Looking back, you have to thank those people who put you in those positions because it teaches you a lot about discipline, doesn't it? Tell us a little bit about
100%.
your take on the importance of discipline in a business.
Well, I think it's important to remember that nothing's ever given, it's earned. And if you can create the right mindset around falling in love with the process of becoming great, right? Because no one wakes up one day and it's just incredible. I believe that if you can fall in love with the process of being great, like I think Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan always talked about, practicing like you play and being great at every single minute of every single practice. Because when you go into competition, you're going to be as good as your least prepared self. And so the more prepared you can be, the better you can practice, the better you're going to be. And so creating that discipline early on, I think, is really important.
Thank you again for sharing, Tyler. Loving this call. Now, in terms of preparing, we obviously have 2 feet and a heartbeat every day is very much a formula for success. Tell us a little bit about your day. You're an early riser, and what does a day entail for you?
Yep, big time early riser. Having young kids will do that. They certainly like to rise early, and I think we've been that way a long time. There's just a narrative to getting up early before the sunrise and doing what we need to do to prepare for the day. For some people, that's meditation. For others, it's working out. For me in particular, I do love to get a really good sweat in. Those are my best days, so I can have a great workout before work. And then I think it's really important to prepare your day at the end of each day and at the beginning of each day. So I always spend the last 15 minutes of my day, writing down what I need to accomplish for the next day, making sure it's in a prioritized order. And then so when I get into work, it's like, okay, yep, those are the things. Those are the 3 big things that if I get nothing else done, I know that these are the 3 things I want to get done today. So just getting into that habit and framework of building out some of that process has been really beneficial.
Now, we talked about earlier, Tyler, those who are just, on the start of their entrepreneurial journey, and inherent with all of this is, especially if somebody was coming from maybe a corporate background into the entrepreneurial space when they are on their own. How important is it to be able to understand risk and taking a chance on yourself, despite the fact that things might fail?
Yeah, well, I think if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will.
Yeah.
Right. And so it starts with knowing who you are, knowing what strengths that you have. And I believe that I think John Maxwell said that you should always double down on your strengths, because if you're an 8 or at something and you push really hard and practice a ton, you can maybe get that to a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
But if you're a 3 at something, even getting it to a 5 or a 6 is still just average. And understanding where you can add the most value to your organization or to your family or to your business, and doubling down on that, and then hiring around for some of those things that aren't particular strengths, could really help.
Could really help, absolutely. Now, some days I wake up and I wish I could just pull the sheets over the back of my head. Now, do you ever have those days, and what do you say when your mindset's not in the right space? Do you have a thing that you do, or, can you click back into it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think every day is perfect, right? I think one thing I learned was to write 5 mantras for your life or for your day or for your family, and put it in your closet. So it's like one of the first things you see. And so I did that a while back, and even if I'm tired or waking up and not in the best mood or didn't sleep well the night before, being able to see that and remind myself of what's important, and that my family's healthy and that I have so much to be grateful for, allows me to shift into more of a positive mindset as it relates to the day ahead.
Yeah, that's fantastic feedback. Thank you so very much. Now, early on, we talked about how you've just flown from one place to another. To me, having done that for many years myself, it takes a certain type of person to do that. Now, I'm getting to the point being, what do you think your superpower is? Do you think, traveling to meet clients is the thing you do best?
It's certainly the thing I enjoy the most, or one of the things I enjoy. I really enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy talking about the work that we do at Rocket Clicks and watching a new client engagement start and having all of that energy as a relationship is starting and building. I really enjoy that process. But I think even more is looking at that same relationship 12 months later or 24 months later and seeing how much it's grown and prospered and seeing the team be able to find success in the work that we do is certainly extremely gratifying.
So tell me a little bit now, let's shift gears and move towards Rocket Clicks and tell us a little bit about the genesis story of Rocket Clicks. Where did it come about?
Yeah, so Rocket Clicks is they have an interesting story. We come from humble beginnings, I think, like most businesses.
Yep.
We were born out of a need for online marketing as it related to a sister business that our founder had.
Hmm.
And for a long time, it just was that. It was a talent incubator for the larger business, excuse me, that was a part of the organization. And over time, we realized that there might be something here. Online
Yep.
marketing is certainly here to stay. And when I took over 7 years ago, we really wanted to create something substantial and that we could be proud of. And so we wanted to build a service that could be measured with every decision. The whole idea behind it is every decision we make, we want to be able to tie it to an ROI, right? And in digital, that's really easy, especially if you're talking about like paid search or paid media. You
Hmm.
put $1 in, you measure the results, you get people to come to your website or buy a product, and you get $10 back, for example.
Yep. Yep.
And so if we can build a product that has that measurement capability, then we can become extremely valuable to our clients. We can become their best salesperson, for example. And so we started with that idea and we built two service offerings, paid media
Hmm.
and organic search, and two separate teams, and then really blended those teams together as we realized the importance of sort of that first click, whether it being an ad or a social media post, all the way through to either a purchase or a form fill for our clients.
Yep.
And so by utilizing those two service offerings, we've seen a lot of success. But I think we're just scratching the surface. Our ability to continue to add platforms and services as it relates to growing businesses online will be our key to future success.
So I know anybody who has tried this on their own can become very frustrated very quickly with pay-per-click marketing on the different social networks. And, SEO on its own is a whole nother realm altogether. Now, how important is it to establish relationships, ongoing relationships with those that you serve?
I think it's extremely important. At the end of the day, starting an ad agency, maybe like one of the easiest, lowest barriers to entry. You don't need any capital, you don't need to build a software. You could start an agency overnight.
Yep.
And so I believe that the thing that's going to set agencies apart as automation and artificial intelligence continue to expand is the ability to create value. And
Yep.
I believe that creating value happens through communication, reporting, and strategy. Let's assume that AI continues to move forward and becomes more and more advanced, right? Outpacing a human's ability to push the buttons or even write the ads. Well, there's still going to be a strategic component that business owners are going to need, because if you have all these tools in your arsenal,
Hmm.
knowing which tools to pull out at the right time for different ailments as it relates to your business are
Yep.
going to be the most valuable. So we talk to our team about that a lot. We talk to our clients about that a lot, and being able to develop a strategy that is lasting, but that can also pivot as the industry and algorithms and businesses change.
See, there are so many different permutations. You can request from any of these social networks that you can advertise on. You can request leads, you can request customers, you can request clicks. The rabbit hole goes extremely deep. Now, I'd love to learn, how do you meet your client, a new client, where they are right now? What is the onboarding process?
So it's extremely important when we're onboarding a new client to have a very clear understanding of what success looks like to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because each business owner and each business is in a different life cycle as it relates to where they're at and what their needs are and what they're trying to achieve. And so it's really important for our team to gauge what is success to you as it relates to this relationship. Is it simply more sales? Is it
Mm-hmm.
online visibility? Is it growing a new product offering that the marketplace doesn't know about yet?
Yep.
And if we can gain that understanding and create initiatives that allow us to provide value and strategic insight and execution to drive towards those goals, then as long as we're communicating the whole time, we're able to help that business improve for the better, and create a lasting relationship for us.
Tell us a little bit about retargeting. Is that still a big thing, and is it still as effective as it was, say, 5 years ago when it first burst onto the scene?
Absolutely. I think the way that people are interacting with the internet is constantly changing, right? They're not anymore simply going to Google, clicking the first ad they see, going to the first website and making a purchase. They
Yep.
are price shopping. They're price shopping across multiple sites on multiple devices, sometimes at the same time.
Yep.
And so it's important for brands to build visibility and authority. I always talk about a personal injury attorney, for example. At a time of need, if you get in a car crash and you're standing outside looking at your broken vehicle, you're going to go to your phone and you may search, personal injury attorney.
Yep.
Well, there's going to be, it's one of the most expensive search terms on the internet. And there's going to be a ton of ads that are going to be right there in front of you. Well, if those attorneys aren't building brand awareness outside of that moment of need, they're going to miss an opportunity for someone to say like, oh, I've heard of him, or I've heard of them, or my friend used them in the past. There's going to be some recall that happens. And so I think it's important for businesses, even if the purchasing decision isn't happening right away, that they're building authority and visibility in the marketplace
Mm-hmm.
for those times of need.
So there's lots of different opportunities online, to remain nameless, all the different platforms that are available. Now, how do you know? How do you know what a client should be on and other platforms they should avoid? Is there a process for that?
I think there's always a recommendation, right, based on experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the beauty of this industry is that the opportunity to test at scale has never been more apparent and available. And so I always tell our team and I talk to our clients and say, listen, we're gonna put a strategy in front of you, and we're gonna use all the best practices and all of our historical knowledge, and this is where we believe you should be. But nothing is set in stone. We are going to test, we're going to gather data, and we're going to retest, and we're going to continue to do that throughout our relationship, so that you always know that we are testing and iterating to move your business forward.
I'd love to talk a little bit, if we can, Tyler, about creatives and headlines, because oftentimes this is where things can fall over, especially with the headline. Tell us, is that something that Rocket Clicks provides, is the access to creatives and great headlines?
Absolutely. I would say that copywriting is sort of the lost art in digital, and especially as social and more graphic-based platforms have come forward, and they do an amazing job, right, with really beautiful
Yep.
graphics and moving
Yep.
graphics. But there's still the offer and the copywriting as it relates to the ad that you're seeing. So I believe that in order to have a great strategy as it relates to online marketing, you need beautiful creative, but you also need a great understanding of promotion, offer, and copywriting to be able to get that action that you're looking for.
Yeah, I often think to myself, well, how long would I expect to see a result on any given platform? Is the duration different from the moment that we turn on that big green button from platform to platform, or can you see results in a day?
From platform to platform, from business to business, right? If I'm a manufacturer and I manufacture large boilers for warehouses,
Mm.
I may only sell one boiler a month or one boiler a
Ah,
quarter,
yes.
right? But the lifetime value of that purchase and the size of that purchase is huge compared to someone who is selling shoelaces one at a time, right? There's a volume play there. You need results really fast and you need a ton of purchases. But if I'm a manufacturer and my sales cycle is 6 months because I have to go and do measurements and scope it out and blueprints and then
Mm.
finally get the purchase order, that's a different scenario and it's a different strategy. And
Yeah.
so for us, again, it goes back to what does success look like? Well, what is your business and what are your metrics? How
Yeah.
many customers do you have today? What's the lifetime value of those customers? What's your margin on the products you're selling? The more data points we can have as a team, the more effective we can be for our clients.
Now, is your ideal client more of a local business, or is it a global audience that you're serving at Rocket Clicks?
Early on, it was certainly hyper local. We were
Mm-hmm.
young and scrappy and hungry and wanted to get any business we could.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Fortunately, through our continued growth, we've been fortunate to serve a number of very large businesses that have a global presence and a global footprint. Again, it goes back to what audience are we trying to serve? Who is the customer that our clients are trying to attract? And where are they? What are they doing? What do they do when they're online? What platforms do they visit? Where are they located? Again, with the tools at our disposal, we can geo target down to a zip code, or we can go as wide as
As the
the
planet is
planet.
big.
Yeah, that's
I'm,
right.
I'm, I'm absolutely loving this feedback, Tyler. Thank you very much for opening up. Now, I saw in one of your videos that you were referencing the pandemic. What impact has it had on Rocket Clicks and their team?
Well, pre-pandemic, we were all in Milwaukee and came to work every day, and that was the deal. And I always say that when everyone was in our office, I could walk into the office each day and instantly know how our business was doing. I could feel it.
Yeah.
I could hear the conversations. I could pull someone aside and ask them a quick question. And I remember it was my birthday, March 13th of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we made the decision, okay, everyone, put your stuff in a box and go home. I'm sure it'll be a week or two and we'll all be back here. And obviously that didn't happen. And we learned a lot during those days. And we learned a lot about what our team needs to be successful. And
Yeah.
so we built out a virtual network. Started hiring nationally. We were able to really expand our just level of employee as it relates to their experience. They didn't have to just live in Milwaukee anymore.
Yep.
And it's been tremendous to watch the team figure out ways to maintain our culture, whether it's doing virtual happy hours or we recently this week we started doing just a virtual work hour. So come jump on Zoom and do your work and join a conversation if you feel like it or don't.
Yeah, yeah.
And just different ways to keep the team engaged and be able to maintain the culture that we're so proud of.
It's interesting, isn't it, how it almost force feeds business owners to, revolutionize and move with and innovate even to keep up with the times. Do you see that this is a permanent shift at Rocket Clicks as well as other
I
businesses?
Yeah, I think it depends on the business, right? We've seen some really big businesses have their employees come back, and we've seen the,
Yep.
the feedback as it relates to that. I think that I'm of the opinion that if we want to achieve the results that we're looking for, we want to grow to the size that we hope to be, we don't have a choice. We need to
Yep.
stay in a hybrid environment. We need to do things to continue to elevate our employees that we have. I heard a great anecdote recently, and it was that when employees come in, their culture battery is totally charged. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. They feel really excited about what they're doing, and
Yep.
as time goes on, that battery depletes. And so, as an organization, if you're not doing things to help them charge that battery back up, you're going to lose employees. And so, it's really important for us as we stay hybrid and stay remote to ensure that our team members feel connected to something greater than, the desk in their bedroom.
That's great feedback. Thank you so very much. Absolutely loving the call. Now, tell us a little bit about the core team at Rocket Clicks. I'd love to learn more about them.
So we have a core leadership team. We practice the EOS program and
I was going to
mantra.
ask you about that.
Yep. So we're practicing traction. We've been doing it for a long time, and so we have our integrator and our head of sales and marketing, and we have a head of paid media and a head of organic search, and so that's our core leadership team right now. Um, and we're continuing to grow that out. We're continuing to look at our org structure and say, okay, well maybe this worked at 20 employees, but now that we're at 50 employees, what are some things that we need to rethink or polish or change? And
Hmm.
also, what structure does a 100 employee agency look like, or a 200 employee agency look like? And so, as we continue to build out our organization and work with larger and larger clients, we have to make sure that our structure and our team can support that growth.
Yeah, this has just been wonderful. I know that this is a topic that can go very deep, and we've not yet talked about search engine optimization. Now, tell me a little bit about, I guess, for those who don't understand what this even means, what SEO actually is.
Sure. Yeah. So SEO is I think if you ask 10 agencies, you make it 8 different answers. SEO Rocket Clicks for me is driving visibility and authority online while improving conversion rate of the site itself. And so when we think about it, just for your listeners who don't know,
Yes, thank
the
you. Thank you.
SEO listings, the organic listings, are the listings underneath the sponsored ads on, say, a Google results
Chrome or
page or
something?
a Bing
Yep.
results page. And so for us, it starts there, right? Driving visibility to those pages. It could be a map listing, it could be a directory listing. There's a lot of different organic listings that
Yep.
Google
Yep.
has or that the search engines offer. But it's so much more than that. It is keyword research. It's understanding how people are searching for your business today. Who's
Yep.
showing up in those results? What competitors are dominating those results? And what are they doing in order to get there? Understanding that and helping a business say, okay, listen, you want to rank for XYZ term. Right now, competitors 1, 2, and 3 are ranking for those. And it's because they have separate dedicated landing pages or a faster site or whatever it is. Well, then we can take those learnings and we can then optimize our client sites to be able to outperform the competition. And
Hmm.
then at the same time saying, okay, if we're going to spend all of this time and money getting you higher and higher on the search engine results page, then we
Yep.
should probably think about what someone is going to do when they actually get to your website. Right. I think
Ah.
a lot of agencies sort of forget that last step is like, okay, I got you to position 1 and now you're getting
What
30%
else do
more
you want?
traffic. Like, shouldn't we think about their journey once they get to the landing page? Do we want
Yes,
them
of
to read a
course.
bunch of text? Do we want them to fill out a form? Do we want them to call? And being able to go through that exercise with a client after doing the research of who's winning today is going to provide a lot of value and give us a road for success, because unlike paid media, organic search takes time. You're not going
Yep.
to get from position 10 to position 1 overnight. You have to go through the process.
Absolutely. Now, there's something that a lot of people, a lot of clients, a lot of business owners may not necessarily think about. But recently we saw the iOS 14 change. We've also seen the Google algorithm, what is it called? Useful content change. Now,
Yep.
I don't know much about what these mean, but I know that they will have an impact on the way I market. How important is it for your team to keep on the cutting edge of these changes?
It's extremely important. It is. We are in the industry of change, right? And
Yep.
we're beholden to the platforms that we manage.
Hmm.
Right? We are not Facebook. We're not building the algorithm ourselves. We are managing the advertising spend for our clients on that platform. And so if we
Yep.
don't know the latest and greatest of what Facebook deems successful as an ad or what Google deems successful as a shopping listing or a search ad or whatever it may be,
Hmm.
we're doing our clients a disservice. And what we
Yep.
know is that what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow, but it's important for us to know where the algorithms are going and to be able to test and retest different tactics, because they change all the time. So what we have instituted is every Friday, the entire business comes together and our departments report on industry update. What's happening in
Ah,
our
yep, yep,
space? What's happening
yep.
on the platforms, so that our entire team can be up to speed on the latest and greatest.
I love this call. You know, it's one of those things that removes the curtain, gets rid of the shadows in the corner of, PPC and SEO, because certainly there's a lot of practices out there that maybe are not above board. And I know that anybody who's coming to Rocket Clicks is going to get the best of service. Now, importantly, we're at the pointy end of the call. When somebody wants to connect with you, they want to work with you, they want to get your services, where are they going to find you?
They could find us online at www.rocketclicks.com. They could email us at podcasts@rocketclicks.com. We set up a separate email to be able to interact with your listeners here, Richard. And, we'd love to chat with your listeners. And I'm happy as a listener of this podcast to offer a free analysis of your listeners' websites. And it'll be a conversation where we just talk through, what does success look like in your business? What are you doing today? What is something that is a frustration or you believe is an opportunity for growth in the future? And having those conversations are really important to educate potential partners on how we can help them, but also to just raise awareness in our space on the latest and greatest as it relates to digital advertising.
Well, look, being helpful is a two-way street, Tyler, and we certainly will be sharing this with everybody who's listening into the show. And if you're on the show today and you're looking for this type of service, make sure you take advantage of this offer that Tyler has so politely offered. Thank you so very much for that, Tyler. Again, if
Absolutely.
you're listening into this call and you want to find out where that is, the links back to Rocket Clicks, which is very easy to remember, it's rocketclicks.com, will be below this post. No matter where you find it, you're going to find that link back to Rocket Clicks and their wonderful team. And with all that being said, Tyler, thank you so very much for joining me on the show today.
Richard, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.